everyone. Welcome to Get Social. So, Sandy and we have an amazing guest backstage. I want to apologize to both of you. I was supposed to be keeping track of time and we got wrapped into a conversation. And then, like, mid-sentence, I just grabbed everybody down and quick hit start. So, if you saw my ridiculous mug on there in the beginning, I apologize.
It's okay.
I was not paying attention at all.
We're having a great conversation. That's the issue.
Yeah, so that's what it was. We were just having a really good conversation pre-show and lost track. But Sandy, how have you been? I feel like it's been a while. It
has been a very hot minute.
Yeah, we had to rearrange a few things, and everybody, thank you for being patient with me and Sandy and us. And Sandy, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad to be back here with you and our side pieces. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing good. Yeah, there's a lot coming up for Get Haunted, and so we'll be kicking off a bunch of brand new fun and exciting shows with lots of topics, and we just figured why not bring ourselves back with something super exciting with an amazing guest. If anyone saw the little advertisements that we were doing, we have Brian Paone with us tonight. He has done an amazing we're going to bring him on in a second here to talk about it. Just this amazing book, Wall Still Talk, Get Haunted's involved. It's so fun, so exciting. We had to have him on. Before we bring him up, though, just want to give a quick shout out. Make sure everyone stays tuned to the Get Haunted Paranormal Podcast program tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Pac-Man Paranormal. They're going to be talking about Trifecta, which is coming up. Yes. That's just a few weeks away, isn't it? That's like right around the corner. Yeah. So, guys, make sure you tune in for that. They're going to talk about all of that. So many fun things. Trifecta is going to take the regular like ghost hunting aspect, aliens, cryptids, basically like all pieces of the paranormal kind of come together. And I'm excited to hear how that show is going to be, how everything that's coming together. And I am rambling. Sandy, do you have anything else to say?
Ready for the season. We do have White Hill coming up. We're going to be at that expo, and we have the convent coming up. Guys, get your tickets now before they sell out, because it's going to be a fun and amazing event. You can do a tattoo and an investigation.
I'm getting a tattoo.
Words. Getting a tattoo there?
I'm getting a tattoo. Yeah.
I am not getting a tattoo this time, but my brother-in-law is. So
nice. Yeah, the fun little flash sheet that they had. I think it's the number 5, the cherries that look like that's what I'm getting. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Oh, wait, we have a few people popping on here. Let's say hi real quick before we bring Brian up.
Let's say hi to our pieces.
Hi. Hello, Stacy. Couldn't find us on YouTube, so we are streaming from the Get Social YouTube. I hope that that's working. If not, we will figure that out.
I can put it in the comments.
Can you? That would be phenomenal. Thank you, Sandy. Hello, Sparky's Idaho Paranormal. Hello.
Ooh, hello.
Really? Yeah, so we go away for a few weeks and I forget how to use everything on StreamYard. So just bear with me, guys. Yes, everyone needs another tattoo is all I'm saying.
100%. I'm trying to save up. My next tattoo is going to be something for my baby. So I got to do that first. And then I could just do a random splurgy one.
Well, there you go. Those are always fun too. Absolutely. I know I have a couple ideas lined up. So I'm like, I need to start working some overtime because those are not exactly the cheapest things in the world to get. But
they're not. I did just put in the chat, guys, the YouTube link for our channel. And check it out there.
Yes.
Help yourselves.
All right. So I think our randomness is out of the way here. We did say make sure that you tune in tonight at 9 p.m. Pac-Man Paranormal. Guys, are you ready for our amazing guest?
Drum roll.
Brian Paone! Woo! How are you, sir?
Good. You caught me putting my shirt on. That was weird.
Damn.
So before we start, I think we should talk about what the most important thing that happened this week. So I always think it's important to like say, you know, these are some important things that happened this week. And I believe the most important thing that happened this week was Kaylee had a birthday.
Kaylee, happy birthday. Where are you?
So
happy birthday, Kaylee. Everybody, make sure you
Happy birthday.
So I think so we're done. And thank you everyone for tuning in, and happy birthday, Kaylee. Bye.
Oh, that's it.
Perfect. Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you for bringing that up.
Denise needs to stop talking. She just needs to stop typing words. Those words, I don't like those words when she puts them in a sentence. Those are terrible sentences.
Say one word.
Right, because you were going to be
now I have some sort of family relation to these giggling children, which I don't like.
How do you feel about spirit children, just in general?
How do I feel about what?
Spirit children?
You gotta say that again.
Spirit children in general. Like, how do you
spirit children. Yeah. Oof, Jesus, I was hearing tacos and it was weird. How do I feel about them? Yeah. You know how like when we were kids, they would be like, something is to something, then something must be to question mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Rob is to dolls as Brian is to spirit children.
Oh, wow. Oh, so this is going to be interesting for you when you stay with them.
Yeah, I'm actually terrified. I keep rethinking my life choices.
It's almost like your kryptonite.
Yeah, I am. And so yesterday I was telling you guys backstage about the convention. It was the Fright Reads halfway to Halloween convention, horror convention. And I have These Walls Still Talk, at up at the booth with a QR code to scan to buy tickets to the book release party, right? Trying to and we can talk about the book release party obviously in a bit, but people, one of their things I get asked the most is like, oh, well, how scary was it staying at MSP? How, how scared were you? Well, I couldn't have done that. And I realize now that my fear level for staying at Denise and Ernie's house is so much higher than any of the moments I was at MSP. Not that MSP isn't scary, but oh my God, like I'm like terrified. And I was telling like these strangers, I'm like, I'm absolutely legitimately terrified. Like they've made me scared to be in that house because of freaking like I just,
They just want to play. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, and I love Denise writes this here, and I'm supposed to be. They told me they were sleeping in the murder room.
Wait, are you going to be? You're going to be staying.
There's entire conversations happening. I guess so. That's what she told me they're putting me. I don't know.
I think, is that not the same room that Rob had stayed in last time he was there?
That's what he said, that they unplugged they unplugged some personal item of his, and he found it in the middle of the room.
Rolled up the cord on him and everything. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna have so much fun, Brian.
Yeah. Make sure you bring them a special gift. Maybe they won't be as mean to you.
Yeah. That's what somebody was saying yesterday at the convention. I forget who it was, but somebody was saying like, maybe I should be like decisive and put on my dad voice and be like, you knock that off, get off my lawn, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, but you don't want them to be scared of you though either. You want the experiences, right? Like I'm assuming it's
this is also the man that we're talking about that had a Scooby-Doo moment with you at Mid-Orange.
Okay, let's talk about that for a minute, because he helped me realize that I wasn't going crazy, because he saw exactly what I saw. I think we saw it almost at the exact same time.
We screamed at the same time, and I tried to run through a wall. Yes.
So we had the privilege of having Brian with us for our Mid-Orange event, the last one that we did. And I had a really good time, and I actually got to follow you around, and it was just fun to even just see how you interact with the paranormal, because you're very open to, and you take everything in almost like a
sponge.
Like a sponge. Yeah. Like you literally are just watching everything that's happening, and those moments happen, those terrifying moments happen, but like you say you scream and you say you're scared, but like you don't run, bro. You like face that stuff.
You weren't there when the door closed at the.
I missed that one. Oh, is that McCray?
You were there, right?
I was, but so I had left for something and I came back and you had already run up the stairs by that point.
Run is an understatement.
Sprinted.
Yeah. I was bounding, landing to landing like a gazelle.
I came in and he was like gasping for breath because he had just done a 10K in like 5 seconds.
I left. I believe it was Tanya. I left everyone behind to their own devices. I was like,
You just left her. You're just like, yeah, and see ya. Bye. Have fun. Good luck.
yeah. Well, Kaylee's bringing it up now, right? So, I even contemplated like leaving my phone down there because my phone was in front of the door that slammed in my face. So I contemplated just leaving it. Like, it's fine. I can get another iPhone. Like, like I'll report it stolen or something.
Oh my god. No, yeah, that was crazy. And that night at Maclay was actually pretty like it was a really active night to begin with. It's that section that you guys were all hanging out. So
Yeah.
that was crazy. But yeah, I don't think you give yourself enough credit. You're pretty brave when it comes to the paranormal stuff. At Middo, we had a shadow figure or whatever you want to call it, a shadow being figure, whatever it was. It ran right past us. I think it was right from left to right. Right
you're talking about Mid-Orange, not the
Mid-Orange.
Yeah. We were in a circle, and a shadow figure ran through the circle close enough where you and I probably felt like we could reach out and touch it if it was a person. Mm-hmm. And it was a full. I saw the head, the shoulders, and the arms in the front, and we both screamed at the same time. I mean, it was weird because like you screamed like a man, I screamed like a woman, and I didn't know who was screaming.
It was a free for all, but no, it was crazy because there were other people. Other people were seeing a shadow that was like standing up.
Well, it came up from behind my sister. So my sister Alicia, it came up behind her body, and if you remember. Hannah was on the other side of the circle. And she made a comment. She said, Alicia, is that you? Please, like, wave your arms so we know it's you. And within seconds after that, you and I screamed because the thing ran through us.
Right through. So I was so focused on trying to figure out what the heck they were seeing. I don't know if I had been prepared either way for something running in front of us, but like totally was not expecting for a second figure to come flying through. So yeah, that was a huge jump scare for me. And I mean, it's when something that's not a physical form runs in front, that's a little scary regardless. Like, I don't care who you are, that's a moment of what the F, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so not Mid-Orange, MSP. You had, I mean, I've been to MSP. This place it's not a walk in the park, right? There are moments that make you ask yourself why the heck you're going there to begin with.
Yeah.
How many nights was it again that you stayed to write the book?
So I was there for 8 weeks, but that is always somewhat of a misnomer because I was there for 8 weeks to write the book, but I stayed. I was there for 17 days out of those 8 weeks. Right. So I wasn't there every day.
Okay.
I was there for 8 weeks, but I was in MSP for 17, nights. And some of those started at 8 in the morning and didn't end until 3 or 4 in the morning the next day because they were Saturdays. Okay. So I would go when like the employees would open the place for the historic tours. So the back of the book is kind of cool because so much stuff happened to me at MSP, right? So much stuff. And I think I saw Dano log on and say hello. So he's one of the tour guides there. And we had things happen to us together. And when things started happening, the very first thing that happened to me from night one, I sat down on the bench in housing unit 1. There's like it used to be an old pew from the chapel that they saved, and they brought it into housing unit 1 for people to sit on. Okay. And I sat on that. And I opened my laptop and I had my Ghost Tube app next to me, right? And it was being quiet, it wasn't saying anything. And I started writing the book. And chapter 1, first paragraph, Hannah is not mentioned in the paragraph. It's like it's arriving to MSP, so it's describing the outside of the building. It's not until the second paragraph of the novel where her name is, the main character is now named, right? Because Hannah's the main character. So it's the first time that the main character gets a name. When I typed the word Hannah for the very first time in the book, my fingers finished typing the word Hannah, I hit period, and my GhostTube app went Hannah. So
no way.
Oh yeah, so I screenshotted it to prove. So the screenshot, you know how when you have the GhostTube up, it kind of comes up like, and it has like it goes into the log, right? There's like a log you can go into. So I screenshot the log, which shows the date and time. to prove that it matched the date, like the time that I was writing that sentence. Right. So if anybody ever wanted to be like, bullshit, that's, that said it days. No, I was so freaked out that I texted her the screenshot. I was like, you're never going to believe what goes to Bev just said your name. And it was right after I typed your name. And Hannah said, of all the times that she's ever used that app herself, and all the time she's been around people using that app, she's never heard her name come out of it. Why did it come out at the exact moment after I wrote her name?
That's interesting.
So I wrote it down. And I opened up a separate. I use a writing program called Scrivener, and it's with authors, right? It's designed for authors, right? How to write novels.
Okay.
And so I just wrote down at the top. I opened up a new little folder, and I wrote at the top, GhostTube app said Hannah's name the first time I type it in the book, right? And then something else happened at night, so I added it to the list. And something else happened tonight. I added to the list. Well, and then I started writing everything paranormal or unexplained, because I don't want to say that everything is paranormal, right? If a broom falls in the corner, it might not be paranormal. But if it's weird enough because of the coincidental of timing, I wrote it. Not really knowing what I was going to do with this yet. Well, my editor and I discussed. So after I kept it, so now basically it turned into my diary. So I have a diary of the entire time I was there. So the diary is published at the end of the book.
Oh,
fiction, right? The book is completely fiction. It's a made up story. So when the book itself ends, you turn the page, and then you're getting my diary exactly how I wrote it, like not edited, not polished. It's basically you can hear the franticness in some of these entries, and then at the end of the entry, so the entry is by night, right? I do night 1, night 2, night 3. And at the end, I put at the bottom the hours that I was there. So I kept almost like a time card of how many hours I was there. So a lot of the days I was there for there's one day that I was there for 22 hours writing, because I got there at 8 a.m. and they didn't close until 6 a.m. and I was there the whole time. So some of the times, some of the days I was there. So when I say I was only there for 17 nights, when you take into account that some of those days were 20 hours, 22 hours, 18 hours, that's at the end of the 17 actual writing days, it was hundreds of hours I was there, because I tallied at the end, almost like a calculation. So yeah, I was there. So yeah, and I had my first doppelganger experience with Dano.
Did you?
Yeah, I honest to God, and I say this in my diary. I say that if you were to make me write down on a piece of paper the things that I absolutely believe are true, down to the things where I kind of roll my eyes and be like, really? I just can't buy that. Doppelgangers are at the bottom. There's a part of me that just I couldn't buy into that. I was like, it's got to be something else.
It's a hard thing to buy into. I get it.
It's a hard thing to swallow. It's a hard thing to just blindly accept, right?
Oh,
and so I didn't. It's not that I didn't believe the stories. I always just wondered that there was something else happening. There's got to be something, right? But yeah, me and Dano were down in the dungeon in your face cell, and we saw a doppelganger of a guest walk by the door, and that last cell ends in a dead end, and he disappeared. He wasn't into the hallway anymore, and that's the last cell in the hallway. We found the guest in another part of MSP, and we asked him if he had been down there, and he said no, he hadn't gone down to the dungeon yet. And we were like, we just saw you. Everything, his hat, his hair. I mean, he was clear as day. So I was like, what? So me and Dana were like, oh my God, right? And I'm like, I now legit saw one. So that one in the diary. It's just.
I love that. So all your experiences ended up getting logged.
What's that?
So all your experiences ended up getting logged. So
yeah.
We actually get a firsthand, it's almost like a little glimpse into your experience of even writing the book then.
Yeah, so you're going to read the book. Again, it's 100% fiction, right? It's not a nonfiction novel about MSP. It's not a journalistic, view of Get Haunted doing. It's literally a fiction novel, right? And then at the end, you're going to read my diary of everything that happened to me throughout the writing of that book, it's broken down by the days. So
that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. So Denise just asked if I'm going to do that there. So I've set a standard. I think if we're going to do like clearly we have book 2 signed off on, right? So we know that there's a book 2 and we know the location. I don't want book 1 to have a bunch of stuff in it that the rest of the books don't. So I've set my own precedents, not knowing there's going to be further books. So I am going to keep a diary again of everything that happens to me at the Ditto House while I'm writing book 2. And the end of book 1 also ends. Now I gave Rob a copy of the book. Did you flip through the back? Did you see the photos in the back, Danny?
I did. I got a chance to.
Yeah, so I guess I have to do that again, right? So I'm gonna have to take photos of people at the Ditto House of the characters that I use who are gonna be in the book. Somehow I'm gonna have to figure that out because I think that's kind of cool having a photo album.
I love that, and you have some they're amazing shots of people too. Like they're really cool.
Yeah, and a lot of them were just like I grabbed, like a tour guide, like who, the people who are in the book. I'd be like, I grabbed like Duncan. I'm like, quick, I need a photo with you. He's like, okay, stand here. I'm like, click, and then that's the one that made the book.
And they turned out really good. And it's not and Rob and Sarah's photos actually are, like everybody just looks phenomenal. Speaking of Rob and Sarah, so they've made it into your book, and I saw they snuck in backstage, so we're gonna bring them up.
The fuck?
Where is she? There she is.
Oh my!
Rob, Sarah.
Why are you looking like the Unabomber over there? What's going on?
Listen, man, I'm just here incognito.
Incognito.
So, did you ever think that Brian would write a book that you would happen to be in?
Yes.
There it is, guys.
Of course.
No, I think that, everything that Brian is doing, I think the concept and watching somebody who, I mean, he's a well-written author, he's well established. But to see somebody take their talent and then add you to it is one of the craziest, most unrealistic things on the planet, to be honest with you. I was put in there by proxy, I think. I wasn't there to meet Brian the first time. So Rob and the crew that were at MSP did such a fantastic job in wooing Brian. So I am grateful to all the players.
It was part of it. It was part of my deal. Part of my first book deal. I'm like, Sarah's not in, nobody's in.
Hey, second book, all deals are off the table. Like that's
right.
No, and I think, and this isn't going to be me like kissing people's asses here, but because I didn't know Get Haunted before I went to that event, right? Mm-hmm. I went because I was so enamored by MSP the weekend before at just one of their normal overnight ghost hunts. And I say normal, nothing about them is normal. They're amazing, but they weren't hosted by anybody outside. It was just an MSP run thing. Yeah, look at that. There you are. Yay, Rob. So I met you guys completely by accident, right? I mean, I only went back because I wanted to do it again. And it just so happened that was the night you guys were there, right? So I went into it. It's kind of like, I kind of attribute it to like you going to a concert and you bought tickets for the headliner and you've never heard of the opener, but you wind up leaving and then like buying every album that the openers put out and you turn into a fan, right? It's like, I was like, I didn't know these guys when I walked in, but
it's okay. MSP is the main act, so it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I think that's an honor to be the opener for MSP for sure. Yeah.
But I think it was because of the structured building to building setup that you did, kind of like you did at Mid Orange. Like we're gonna break out in groups. There's gonna be somebody at each building. We're gonna do 30 to 40 minutes. I didn't get that. That's not how MSP does it. When you do one of their overnights, right? They give you a tour and then they let you go play, which is just equally as awesome, but it's a different experience. Kind of having the stations, I think really is what made me go, these people are awesome.
Well, according to page 256.
Oh no.
Dear Diary. When I first laid eyes on Rob as he approached the front of A Hall, my heart fluttered.
Twice.
Apparently, I wasn't the only thing you liked.
No. Like a good.
Oh my God.
So I remember talking to Brian and the boys out front, of MSP when I went out there,
Yes.
and like I didn't know anything about Brian either, or anybody that was there really. Just there were a few familiar faces, but I knew you guys were going to be fun. I remember kind of like talking about. You remember you guys telling me you were there the weekend prior.
Mhm.
So I was like, it's gonna be cool. And it turned out to be really, really cool. It was a good weekend.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah. And again, I always, say like serendipity, right? The fact that you put my row of me and the guys that I was with, and then like Hannah and Lizzie, who were in the row in front of us, you're like, okay, these 2 rows, you guys are a group. If that didn't happen, I don't even know where any of this would be. You know what I mean? Like, because it wasn't just like meeting you guys and then like getting the idea for the book, but it was also that like we got put with Hannah, and then I came up with the idea of using her as the main character and like kind of her personal story, using it inside the storyline, and everything would be so much different if it didn't work out the way it worked out.
Yeah.
The universe lined it up the way it needed to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also something we shoot for, or we aim for, to get people working together, not just us kind of helping you along the first half of the night, but we encourage and prefer, because we like to take a few minutes to chill once we kick off free roam. We want people working together, and you guys did it, so it was really cool, really cool.
And I didn't meet Sarah until the soiree, which was after.
And then your life was complete.
Done.
Right.
I mean, I was like, well, I can die now, right? This is
right.
Everything now is just like, the cherry on top. It's, my life is over. So but I didn't meet you until the soiree, and the book was already finished and in my editor's desk. But so you were the only person that exists in the novel that I hadn't met in person who's in the novel. And that's only because of the conversations that we had online with Get Haunted and stuff like that. So it was hard to write your character because I didn't know you as well as I kind of knew everybody else, so.
So let me stop you. I have 2. Well, first, how many books do we need to sell to get you better internet? That's going to be my first question.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on.
Look how beautiful that book cover is.
People on the side, you need to buy this book the minute it comes out, please. But and Sarah can attest, right? Because she doesn't have her copy of the book yet because she couldn't make it to Mid-Orange. But as I read through, especially your introduction, why is my computer dying? Your introductions to her, or her piece in the book, I was like, oh my God, Brian, you nailed Sarah's persona, how she speaks, the things she says. Like, there was a couple there where you make sure that she jabs me a little bit, which also kind of lines in there. But no, like you really captured who Sarah is in words. So she'll tell you. I got a little choked up reading that first piece where you introduce us to the world.
Yeah.
Well, but Brian, you did do your work. You did do your work. We did sit down with you when we had Zoom meetings, and we did which, let me just tell you, Brian's like, you guys need to do your intro. And a couple of times, I think, Danny, we even said like, we need to videotape at an event, like one of our intros, right? Because it's all by the seat of our pants. If anybody knows me, like I don't prepare for shit, like nothing. Nada. So whatever comes out is what comes out. And I think the vibe is always the same to our intro, but you just, whatever we're feeling that day is sort of what comes out. But we ended up having to do an impromptu intro. Rob and I just like basically recording in front of no one, like doing an intro.
How hard was that?
It's not that easy. Although for me, I play off of Rob. So if he starts talking, That's all I need. Like I can go from there. But it is hard when you don't have those beautiful faces in front of you and their curiosity to inspire you to say the things that you truly mean. But I do think, you know, that's the piece. And I think there was a couple mannerisms you actually got down too, which was
Oh yeah, the hand thing. Yeah, there was a lot.
So I think because you know, I've been a cop for so many years, I just naturally memorize people's mannerisms because I'm always looking at body language. And I think that comes from being a patrolman on the street for so long. I need to read people. Like, are you going to fight? Are you going to run? Are we okay? So I'm always, so I notice, you know, when people are doing it. So when I go to write characters, I tend to borrow, if I'm writing completely fictional characters, I tend to borrow mannerisms of people I know. But with you guys, I was trying to keep everyone's mannerisms as they exist in real life, right? Because these are fictional versions of real people. So I was trying to make it so they were unique to you guys. Like, all right, so, you know, Trevor, like we love Trevor, but he's known for his stutter, right? I mean, so in the book, I had to have the Trevor character stutter. I mean, could you imagine not having the character stutter? It would feel
it wouldn't feel like,
but it's not me making fun of him ever. We never make fun of him in the book, and it's not done in any sort of like, you know, jest. But if that's what sets him apart from another character, that's his speech pattern.
Oh yeah.
So he stutters in the book, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And nobody does it better than Trevor, right? And he knows it. So yeah, I didn't see it, you know, as a knock at all. It is who Trevor is. And it's one of the things and one of the many reasons we love him. And I do love him most of the time. Trev, if you're watching.
85% of the time.
Yeah, maybe 86, 87%. It's just everything I've read so far. And it's hard not to jump, right? Because I'm like trying to jump to different things, but it's really good. And thank you.
Oh no, thank you. Thank you for letting me. Because I mean, I came to you and you very well could have said, no, this is my brand, and there's the door, pal. Don't let it hit you on the way out. Don't let the ghost from the manor slam it in your butt on the way out. And the mansion. But you didn't, and you were receptive. So I always feel like I should be thanking you because I don't ever expect
those
anything.
Royalty checks are the best thank you ever.
But I think, Brian, the beautiful thing, and I know some people won't see this, but I do think that a majority of the network exactly sees what just happened. And it is that connection of location. You know, we're a business within the paranormal. We're all very curious and love the paranormal. You have, you know, this newfound passion for this and to write about it. So it's all this beautiful relational, right? We're all helping each other. And I think that's what's really cool about this piece is that, you know, because what we do know, like, you know, Rob that night and the crew inspired you, the location inspired you, right? Mm-hmm. We know that other authors have seen what you've done and they're like, hey, I want to do that. So you're inspiring.
Yeah, I told you that Sheila. I told you that Sheila was starting to get phone calls from other authors, like all over the country after word got out, trying to be like, hey, so I'm like, she told me, she's like, I think she told Jenny, and then Jenny told me. I forget how it happened, but Sheila was like, yeah, I'm getting like the phone's ringing, and I'm getting like people are like, so I'm an author too, and what do I have to do to stay there free to write a book? And she's like, sorry. She's like, Brian's our one and done. Like, it's the first person we've ever let do it, and I guarantee you, I'm not letting anybody else do it. Like, this Brian got the one Willy Wonka golden ticket to write here. Go find your own place.
That might inspire somebody to try a new way of writing, especially to share the paranormal. So I love the reality that you placed in the book, the actual location, people's actual experiences tied to your creative mind and a story. I just think the entirety of this thing shows that this is not a one person thing, right? Just like the paranormal really isn't about just one person. It's so much about our connection, the red thread. And to me, that's what I see through this project that that you've shared with us is just this red thread that has gone through, and it lifts everybody instead of just saying, "Oh, look what I did," you know.
Right. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And like, I know that for book 2, you know, the good thing about these books, and I will never use the word sequel because it's not a sequel. That implies that you have to read part 1 to read part 2, right? These are all going to be 100% standalones, like the Hardy Boys or their Babysitters Club or Nancy Drew or, you know, Goosebumps. Like, it all has that name over it, the Goosebumps name, but you don't need to read the Goosebumps in order that he wrote them to understand the storyline, right?
No.
So with the Get Haunted Tales series, they're just gonna be numbered by like book 2, book 3. So I have to be very careful that if someone starts with the Ditto House book before the MSP book, that I don't write it where I assume they know something because they read the first one. So I almost have to like introduce and kind of go over things every time. But I do know that the characters can't reference something that happened in another book in case they are read out of order. Can't be like, hey, do you remember MSP when that happened? Ha ha ha. People agree. Like, right? So I'm going to change characters in and out. And I have made the decision, and I haven't said this to anybody yet but Kaylee. So I'm going to like reveal something we talked about in text. Sarah and Rob will always be at each, are always going to be the main characters from Get Haunted in each book. But I'm going to replace in and out the crew underneath.
Oh, nice.
So like in the MSP book,
too.
yeah. So in the
I was
MSP
thinking
book,
about that too.
it was Trevor's. It was Trevor's time, and that's only because I spent so much time with him there. Right, I met him there. It makes sense. But now that like I've done a bunch of stuff with Kaylee, and Kaylee's going to be at the Ditto House during the Trifecta weekend, so so it makes sense to make her now a character in book 2, like almost the Trevor character. Like she's going to be the one helping and the one running around getting shit done like Trevor does in the MSP book. And also Bill. Like I feel bad that Bill wasn't in the first one because he's kind of such a large part of Get Haunted, but I didn't know him. I didn't meet him there, and I didn't know who he was until after I had written the book.
We understand. He understands. You don't have to.
Yeah, so I live with a level of a little bit of not guilt because that implies something negative. I feel bad that I've met so many amazing people who are so important to the Get Haunted brand since I finished the MSP book. And I feel bad that I didn't have a place for them in the first book because I didn't know them. Right. So now I feel like, but
now you owe us more books. You owe us more books. But listen, you know, if we're going to be together in perpetuity in text, just run these people past us, okay? Because I just, I'm only joking. Sorry.
So I think like Bill is like the mastermind. I love Bill. I mean, I commissioned him to build me that ghost spell, and he'd never built one before. And he was like, "All right, I'm gonna take on this project." And his ghost spell is amazing. In fact, it was his ghost spell that rang before we saw the shadow figure go running through. If you remember, it was dinging upstairs. Yeah, so it works, right? Because
cool about him.
So
unlike Sarah's, which is broken.
I think because he's so good at like that, building the equipment and dealing with the equipment. I think I'm gonna use him as like a character that when like the equipment like shits the bed, like he's the pit crew, like he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off trying to fix stuff.
But I have an idea to give you offline. I won't give
it. He goes offline.
Everybody's naked, right?
It's like help you
like a nudist overnight ghost hunt.
Yeah, this could help you with some plot lines. But anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so thank you, Brian. We wanted to jump on and say thank you. And Sarah hasn't had enough airtime this week, so she was feeling she's feeling dejected.
There will be a fight, guys. There's going to be a fight.
To be fair, we asked Rob and Sarah to pop on. Sarah had nothing to do with any more airtime.
I really think he's addicted to the fighting, and I think he needs to have constant strife between mom and dad.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey,
I think in book 2 you're gonna like knock him out.
Oh, well,
he's gonna say that one thing. And you're gonna
have a photo if you need it of her actually.
Yeah,
there's a photo. Yep. And if you were there, I would have had you arrest her, Brian, because it was an assault.
And
Um,
so
It
I'd be
was.
like out of my jurisdiction.
It doesn't
It was
matter.
so an accident though, right? It was supposed to be, you're supposed to pull the punch last second, and then
Well, the reality is I do have witnesses. Danny was my witness. It was, I think Rob came towards my hand.
Oh, oh my God. No, she went to feign a punch and forgot to feign, basically. But
an
I'm
amazing photo though.
I'm a veteran. I'm technically a disabled veteran. So this lady beats up disabled veterans.
Wow. Wow.
And I
And
believe
Denise Pack has my back.
Mhm.
I believe that requires no jurisdiction. Like that is
All right.
what she
Well,
does.
with that, let's let them get back to their amazing
Yes.
show with the amazing Brian Paone. Brian, thank you so much.
I can't wait to
Honestly,
see. I can't wait to see your face at MSP.
yes, it's going to be so amazing.
Yeah,
So
I was
amazing.
planning on giving you like a super big hug at Mid Orange, and when you didn't go, you're just gonna have to deal with a double extra big hug at MSP.
Well, I don't really like hugging. I don't like touching. So it's fine.
Wow.
Everybody knows that I am the
Oh, yeah.
biggest hugger out there.
I was
Brian's
gonna
gonna
say,
take my
I just
side.
telling
She
you.
just punched you in the face, Brian. You're welcome.
Wow.
Now you'll arrest her. Hey Sparky, listen, I gotta do what I gotta do, bro.
Right, Sparky's. I know he's being a baby. All right, guys, have a great rest of your
Yeah, have
show.
fun.
Brian, nice to see you. Mwah, and
Thank you.
we will talk to you guys later.
Thanks for popping.
Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
Lebanon. Bye.
Bye guys. I'm out too. You know, someone's gotta run this business.
Doesn't Leo run it? No.
Yeah, Leo does.
Farewell.
All right. Well,
There we-
what? Oh, okay. There you
There he
go.
goes. Bye.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, so I heard Rob read a few pages of the book so far, and yeah, it's. you
Does he
did
like
really
it? Now that he's not here, we can talk about
loves it. No, he does. He loves it. Did witness the tear rolling down as he was
Oh,
reading
did he?
it.
Like
Yes.
while he was reading it by himself?
Aw.
Because I don't want to like paint him as like, something he's not, but I'll tell you, during Mid Orange, during one of the breaks while free roam was going on, we were kind of hanging out in the common area, and I was sitting next to him, and he was flipping through it, and he started to get like really emotional. So
Yeah, I mean that's a big deal. I mean, you've definitely you've become family, like instantly became family. I know when I first met you, I think I first met you
the soiree.
at the soiree. Yeah, it was just talking to you felt like we all had known each other for forever, and just having you come to different events, and so it's just it was such an honor to have someone that we've cherished and had at our events, and just to have that honor of you wrote a book and we're in it. And
No, I appreciate that.
yeah, it's so sweet. Thank you. But oh my
Yeah,
goodness. Yeah, so in between, so I know we had talked about like the book series, but you are also going to be breaking it up a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
So what's that there?
I think what was important, I talked to Ernie on the phone about this. Ernie, from the Ditto House, for those people who don't, if I'm throwing names out, people are like, who the hell's that? Because I know some of like my readers are on. And so Ernie and Denise are the ones who own the house that I'm writing book 2 in Kentucky. And me and Ernie were on the phone, and I said, I've been a published author now for it'll be 18 years in October, right? So
Wow.
it's a long time. It's 18 years. And I built my career on not writing the same genre and not writing the same thing over and over and over, right? So and I'm not taking anything away from people who do that, because that's amazing if you've built a career on honing in on a niche. Like that's just as important. But there's some authors that write like only cozy mysteries. So you're getting a cozy mystery next. There's some authors that only write like dark fantasy. So you're getting a dark fantasy novel, right? Mm-hmm. But I've built my career on writing all different genres, all different styles. And the last thing I wanted was to get locked in and turn into the guy who writes about ghost hunts gone wrong. So it's like, right? So it's like, he built his career on changing it up, but now this is all we're going to get from him. Like, I didn't want people who have been following me through the years or buy my books because my name's on it, or to be like, oh, so this is all we're getting now. Like, this is what he's turned into, right? That was very important for me, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing it every other. So These Walls Still Talk comes out in June, and I'm currently right now writing the next book, which will come out later. Actually, we have a release date of September 13th for the next one, which is Fright Reads Horror Festival in Maryland. That's going to be the Trevor, we were just talking about you.
We
You
were.
Trevor, we just had a whole 7-minute conversation about you. But yeah, so we're doing it every other. So I have a book coming out in between the MSP book and the Ditto House book. And then after the Ditto House, I do have a third location where I've been talking to the owner of writing book 3 at another location. We're not ready to quite talk about it publicly because we have to set up. There's going to be some things that have to be confirmed. So that's what I'm going to do, is start running around and spreading, giving this name out that this is where book 3 is. And then the owner's like, wait, we didn't actually, agree completely. And now you're out advertising it. So, that never looks good for anybody. It's,
Right.
There are some people who do know it just because they're part of the process of working the deal out. But I already got book 3. And then I was approached by Wade from Nesper for book 4's idea. He pitched me an idea, which again, I can't talk about just because it involves Nesper and it's got to be agreed through all of them. So as of right now, if all of those pan out, then there's a minimum of 4 Get Haunted tale books.
Wow.
But I want to make sure that something comes out in between each one. So in every other, right?
I love that though.
Yeah. So the next book is already, like I said, it's almost done. It's got a release date already. We've got the front covers done. The author photo was taken yesterday. And then we'll do book 2 at the Ditto House. And then we were talking about what my idea for the non-Get Haunted book after the Ditto House book. It's going to be like a neo-noir Dark City meets Silence of the Lambs. So it's going to be like a serial killer set in this neo-noir, Dark City, almost like The Crow type landscape.
Very cool.
And then book 3, then the book 3 Get Haunted book, which is in that location that I was saying we can't really talk about. And then after that, I'll write the book. So it's going to be kind of cool to do this every other. That way, if people don't like horror or aren't into these types of books, who are my readers, aren't going to be like, well, great, I'm never getting anything else from him. That's what he's doing.
Right? Yeah. Do you feel like that's a good reset for you too? Does that help refresh for the paranormal after having a book that's not so much the Get Haunted series?
Yeah. I do know that my motivation and drive to write at the Ditto House is really, really high. And that might be because I'm still writing the excitement of the MSP book. We're still talking about it. I'm still doing these podcasts about it. People are really excited. We haven't even had the book release party. So I'm still buzzing from the MSP book. So that energy has kind of transposed over to the Ditto House. But I do know that if I did after the Ditto House, I know that I will be, we'll need mentally take a break before I do book 3. In the book that I'm writing now, that we talked about backstage, which, we have the front cover and the author photo. This was dropped. This was an idea that came out of nowhere and felt like a good bridge between the 2 Get Haunted tales. So
I love this. Can we bring this up?
Yeah. So should we talk about it first real quick? Can I give you
please do. Right. Please do.
So if any of you know me, any of the people who watch this now, or they watch it after we do the rerun. Is rerun even, do we use the word reruns anymore?
We're going to now. I like that word. So yes.
Yeah. So after this gets uploaded to YouTube or whatever, and people find it, later. If people who know me know that, most of my personality in real life is just how ridiculous, what ridiculous things can I say at what moment, right? So I do not take myself seriously. I tend not to take anything that's happening around me seriously, even though I'm very passionate and I know that they're serious things. You've been around me, right? Everything's a joke. But all of my novels are either considered tragedies or like dark dramas, right? So there's always this struggle, and they're not, I don't tend to write light, funny, humorous things. So I'm writing a little bit of a backstory. There is a band out of DC. So you guys know I own a DeLorean, right?
Yes, I found out. I was like, oh my gosh, you own a DeLorean? What?
Yeah. So
freaked out.
So,
it was great.
Love it.
I had a band from DC contact me through my website who wanted to rent the DeLorean because they wanted to use it in their music video.
What?
No way.
They are have you ever heard of nerdcore hip hop or something like that? There's like a term.
No.
So it's like rap bands, but they're like Weezer, right? They're like nerds, and they rap about like nerdy and geeky things. Like all their songs are about sci-fi, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Back to the Future, Star Wars, science, dinosaurs. Like that's what they rap about, right? And it's done in a very kind of like nerdy way, and it's a whole like genre. Anyway, I fell in love with these guys. So they rented the car because their song is called "Pack for the Past," and they wanted to end it with them zipping away in a DeLorean because the song is about like going back to the 80s as an adult and playing with your old toys and doing that's what the song's about, right? So the name of the band is Hip Hop McDougal, and so they rented the DeLorean for that, and they shot the video, and I wound up falling in love with them, where I went and bought their whole discography, and I went and saw them live twice, and I was just like, I'm a fan, like I'm in. You guys are just amazing. I love you guys. Well, their new album is a soundtrack to a werewolf movie from 1986 that doesn't actually exist, right? But track 1 is the theme song. So it's the only song on the album that has lyrics or vocals, because the rest of the album is a fake score.
I love that so much.
That's so cool.
Right? But this movie doesn't exist. It's a movie, so it's a soundtrack to a movie called Howlers that doesn't actually exist. And the name of the titles of the songs, you can kind of follow the plot line, right? Like Joey gets the scoop and hand to paw combat. So you can kind of like follow a storyline by the names of the songs. So I was talking to them, and Harry, who is the organizer of the convention that I did yesterday, and he's also the guy who runs Fright Reads in September. He booked them to actually perform on the second day of Fright Reads as like the musical act.
Oh, that's so cool.
They bring like a full Halloween show. They come out of caskets when they play. They wear werewolf costumes. They have skeletons everywhere. I mean, they're when they play around Halloween time, they really do it up. So I was talking to Harry about booking them and how much fun they are. And then we started talking about the new album and how it's just crazy that they wrote this score to a movie that doesn't exist. And I was like, why don't I write the novelization to the movie that doesn't exist based off their score? But then it turned into, no, let's make it a This Is Spinal Tap mockumentary where we're interviewing the crew of a movie that doesn't exist, but the score does. The score is real. Like that's their new album, right? So we're using the score to kind of guide us through these interviews, right? So anyway, so that's the next book. The next book is actually, it's going to go in. So during the interviews, the crew is going to be talking about the certain scene that they were filming or these crazy things that happened. And then I'm going to actually have like the scene like written out, like if you were reading the movie. So it's going to be a cross between like a novelization of this movie that doesn't exist and then these crazy crew interviews. And like the stuntman is like the 6th stuntman that they've had, and they haven't even started production yet because like the 5 before him have died or something weird has happened to them. So it's this very funny mockumentary thing that I've never written in this style before, right? I've never written in anything because all my stuff is so serious. So it's called Howlers, and because that's the name of the movie that doesn't exist. It's also the name of their album to the soundtrack, right? So if you guys want to see it or hear it, they're called Hip Hop McDougal, and it's Howlers, and they're everywhere, Spotify, every streaming service, and they are a fantastic group of guys, and their songs are funny. And so anyway, the cover was finished, and I've not shown the cover to anybody yet. So if you guys, if we want, we can.
First time.
Look up.
Oh,
Special
you can
access.
reveal?
Right now.
Ready?
So here's Howlers, the front cover.
Look at how amazing that is. And it just like it has that whole vibe of like the old school
So it's-
horror movie.
Yeah, it's
I
also
love
the 39th anniversary, right? Because like who celebrates the 39th anniversary?
That's so perfect. And I love how you really dove into the whole werewolf thing for the back cover. Are we allowed to show that as well?
Well, this is for 1 second. So hit the front cover, right? If you look above the name of it, it says a novelization of Hip Hop McDougal's hit soundtrack to the cult classic film, which doesn't exist, right? That does not exist.
So perfect.
And
I'm excited for this.
then Amy, who did all the artwork for These Walls Still Talk, did this too. And she made it look like it's a book that's been like carried around in someone's back pocket, or like you see all the creases. It's been like bent, right? This is.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like that's the intention of it, is to make it look like it's worn like that. I love that so much.
The back of all of my books is always an author photo of me, right? And it's always a new picture, and it's always taken while I'm writing that book. So so I look kind of like the way I did, because I have a beard sometimes, I don't have a beard sometimes, I have a shaved head sometimes, I grow my hair sometimes, or like it's always kind of like a snapshot of what I look like. So yesterday, my friend Marissa, who's also an author, she took my author photo for the back of this book. And this is the photo that we're going to use for the back of the book. And this is me. Yeah, me in a werewolf costume.
I love it.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's
So
wild.
so it's just fun. It's the most silliest thing I've ever been a part of. And, it's breaking up the seriousness of my other books. And, oh, we lost Danny.
She'll be back in 2 seconds.
Okay. It's like, where'd you go? So, yeah. So after this will be good. This kind of like shakes off the dust of the ghost hunting stuff. And then I can get serious again at the Ditto house with all those kids. Now, if Denise is watching, do the kids have names, or should I name them? Just don't know. Like
Denise,
call
they
them
have names.
Little Mikey, little Susie.
We'll see.
Is that no? Would they like that if I?
Or you could just say
Giving them names.
The little kids, yeah.
Denise is still here.
Little Mikey, little Susie. Watch out for little Joey.
Okay, so we are coming up on our hour here, but before we go, I want people to know how they can get a hold of your books, also release dates for These Walls Still Talk and for Howlers, since that's phenomenal too.
The most important thing is the book release party, because we still have tickets available.
Oh, yes.
At Missouri State Penitentiary, Get Haunted, an overnight ghost hunt, everything included in the price. All the tour guides will be there. And the cool thing is almost every single person who's in the book, who's a character in the book, is going to be there. So my sister is flying in, she's in the book. Hannah is driving down. Obviously she's the main character. My buddy Heath, who's also a big character in the book, is flying in from California. So not only is Get Haunted going to be there, that are in the book, and not only is all the MSP tour guides going to be in there at the book release party, but I actually have all the main characters. Oh, Taylor, who's also a big part of the book. Taylor from Kansas City. She's driving in for it. So we're actually going to have not just the MSP staff and not just Get Haunted, but also the actual guests in the book are all going to be there. Yeah, and Amy, who did the front cover, she's flying in from Texas for it. So
how excited are you for this? That's a big deal.
So we have some tickets left. They have been selling. I've been selling them at like conventions and festivals that because I have the QR code on my table.
Oh, perfect. So you can just like scan it and go. Yeah.
Yeah. So last weekend I did Awesome Con in DC, and I sold 3 tickets to it at Awesome Con 2 weekends ago.
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah. So pretty cool, right? People are like willing to buy plane tickets, get a hotel, buy a ticket to this, and so it's so cool. So
it's an entire adventure. You can make a whole trip out, like an entire trip out of this whole thing. Yeah, it's so cool.
And we're gonna give you a bang for your buck, that's for sure. And I'll be there signing all the books and taking people around and showing them the different places where different parts happen and where certain things happened to me while I was writing. And
that's so fun.
We may or may not have a pretty cool scavenger hunt. where there's going to be a pretty cool prize. So
Nice. Oh, I'm excited. So good. So, okay, that's going to be the date for that. Wait, hold on. Did you
June
say it?
21st.
June 21st for the book release, the signing,
Yep.
MSP, all of that amazingness. To get their hands on a copy of the book, if they can't make it to the signing,
Yes.
where can they get that?
So the book on June 21st will be available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook
Ooh.
everywhere books are sold. So paperback, Barnes & Noble's, Books A Million, Walmart, Amazon, ebook,
Oh, wow.
literally everywhere. There's like
Walmart.
1,000 sites. Yeah.
I
And,
need the
and
stuck in the
audiobook for people who listen will be Audible, iTunes, Spotify, Chirp, all the main Google Play. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
everywhere.
exciting.
Now, if you want to pre-order the book, you can pre-order the ebook right now through Amazon.
Oh,
So the day it comes out, it automatically downloads to your device. If you want to pre-order the paperback, you can go to brianpaone.com. It's just myname.com. And, just all my books are there. If you click on these while still talk, you're able to pre-order the book. If you're coming to MSP, there's an option to pre-order the book for MSP attendees, because what it does, I have my website programmed to take away the shipping.
Okay.
Because you're going to get it there, right? There's no reason for me to
Okay.
charge you to ship it. So make sure if you're coming to MSP and you're pre-ordering it, to pick that option so you don't get charged the shipping. But if you're not coming to MSP, you can pre-order it right now, and then they will ship immediately. And I sign all the ones that get pre-ordered through my website.
Oh,
I love that.
phenomenal.
Yep.
Yes, I'm headed over to his website. And
I know what I'm doing later, guys.
So everyone, please go check out. It's brianpaone.com.
Yep.
Get those pre-ordered books, because that even pre-orders have to help in some form, right? Because then you know how much you need to send out right away.
Yeah, and also too, if you order anything from me, all 11 of my novels are available on my website. I don't have to share the royalties with Amazon or Barnes & Nobles or Books A Million or Walmart, or they take a cut, right? So
Yeah.
I get full royalties on my website, and I sign every paperback that goes off my website.
All right.
I love that.
More reason right there to go right to brianpaone.com, get your pre-order, get your tickets for the MSP book signing, and hang out with Brian, the entire cast of the book, and just have an amazing evening. Thank you.
Thank you,
Trevor is amazing. I love Trevor.
I'm hiring Trevor as my secretary.
Brian,
Secretary.
this has been, thank you so much for coming on and just sharing about the book and sharing the cover art for Howlers, and just thank you. This has been
thank you for having me.
Seriously.
Always a pleasure. I can't wait to see you guys again.
Yes, I can't wait to get a hug from you.
Oh yeah, I give good hugs. I'm usually a good big spoon too. Just putting that out there.
Well, does anyone have any last words, questions, anything before we call this a wrap? Was that Wade?
Where's Wade?
Where's Wade? There's our guy.
All right. Well, then, without further ado, we shall say goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye. And guys, remember Pac-Man
Adios.
Paranormal tonight at 9 p.m.
All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hi, everybody.